with this Constantinian Judaism in its incorporation into world empire, and not by harking back to a former innocence before this empowerment and imperial role. Ellis explores the contradictions that arise as Jews in collaboration with, quote, ecumenical Christians who wish to repent and be absolved from their former sins against Jews, and together create endless monuments to this former innocence, even setting up Auschwitz itself as such a monument in order to cover up and silence the culpability of the new present of Jews and Christians as empowered oppressors of other people. Instead of remembering Auschwitz in order to never, never again allow such ethnocidal atrocities to go on without outcry, Auschwitz is trumpeted in order to stifle the cries of Palestinians as their houses are blown up, their lands confiscated, their water stolen away behind separation walls, and their children maimed by so-called rubber bullets. Yet Ellis is not just engaged in a prophetic critique of hypocrisy, he also grounds his critique in a renewal of authentic Jewish prophetic social justice ethics, or what he would call living the covenant at a time of colonialism and evangelization. For Ellis, this means embracing a new exile that counteracts the false promise that Jewish exile can be ended by a return to the land of Israel and a founding of a Jewish state. This proclaimed return has not created a home for peace and justice that its Zionist leaders promised, but has turned the indigenous Palestinian people into a subjugated people in their own land, and exile for them, the Palestinian people throughout the world. In creating a return to the land based on the violent expulsion of another people from their land, Zionists violate and destroy their relationship to the authentic Jewish tradition of prophetic ethical living in covenant with God. Jews who seek authentic covenantal life in justice-seeking community are thus in deep alienation and exile from that state who claims to be carrying out this return from exile, but has in reality exiled themselves from the soul of the Jewish tradition. The prophetic critic of this hypocrisy is thus in part cut off from those of his own community who refuse to hear these questionings and who seek to silence the questioner. But at the same time, the critic finds him or herself in the company of new brothers and sisters, Jews and Christians, Muslims, people of many traditions, who seek to overcome these unjust betrayals of human relationships. And so a new ecumenical community arises in the context of resistance to the betrayal of the authentic hope for justice. Jews of conscience, as Ellis calls those Jews who share his vision, find themselves in a new global community of justice seekers. Ellis interprets this vision of a new community of resistance and solidarity in justice seeking through the theme of revolutionary forgiveness. Revolutionary forgiveness takes place as those opposite sides of many forms of oppression meet and find common cause together. It takes place as Israelis and Jews of many countries cross the Green Line and join with Palestinians in resisting occupation. It takes place as peoples from these different contexts seek a language to communicate authentically with each other. In this practice of outreach across dividing lines, one risks rejection, even retribution by one's own people, but also confronts the barriers to authentic mutual understanding between the privileged and the oppressed, who one seeks to know and to affirm, and bridging this gap is not easy. It's in the context of these risks and struggles that the miracle of revolutionary forgiveness can happen. It cannot be assumed or demanded, but it arises as a gratuitous acceptance of separated people who experience their common humanity as they share a cup of tea together in a refugee camp across the divisions created by systems of historical and ongoing oppression. It is in these meetings of communities of solidarity that are forged beyond and over against the state religions and their colonizing empires that Ellis hopes for an authentic future of Jews and Christians, as well as Jews and Palestinians, or Israelis and Palestinians. In Ellis's most recent book, Encountering the Jewish Future, reflecting on the thought of Elie Wiesel, Martin Buber, Abraham Heschel, Hannah Arendt, and Emmanuel Levinas, published in the fall of 2011, he ends with these tentative but hopeful words. The challenge before us is whether, as Jews, we can once again venture into the world as a witness to ourselves and others. If we can turn yet another historical corner, the Jewish identity of the future will be one of hope and solidarity. And then we can carry elements of Jewishness from the past and transform them into what is needed for the years ahead. Clearly, as our Jewish thinkers testify, Jews have much to share with the world. To create a future worthy of our past, we have to listen to the world as well. Who knows when the prophetic will once again explode onto the world scene, just when the prophetic fire seems to be extinguished, it returns. Perhaps it will return to Jerusalem, calling Jews and Palestinians out of exile into their own shared land.